Thank you. All right. So welcome, Sarah, and welcome everybody online. Today what we're going to do is we're going to cover the session number 6 Ignite, which is called Sell Your Listing. By now you have learned the tools, how to win a listing, how to get a comp, and today what we're going to cover is how to sell your listing, because until you don't sell it, it's not going to get to the closing department. So the expectation for today that we're going to cover is we're going to find out the techniques, the advantages, and staging, getting the advantages of getting a listing and staging a listing to get it sold. Also, we will be reviewing the elements, the 14-point marketing plan that we covered into the listing session, and also we will be learning what are the essentials for a great service is, right? And then we're also going to study the strategies and the tips of having some great communication, because communication is key. Yeah. Everything that we are doing from start to finish, whether it's winning a seller, winning a buyer, getting onto a listing appointment, getting onto a buyer appointment, hosting an open house, doing anything pertaining to the sale or a purchase for a buyers, it is the key part is communication and the stuff that you need to know about the things that we are doing, right? So today we're just going to cover how and what we will be doing for selling your listing, right? Now, so how is it that your mission going, your daily 10x4 going on, Sarah? Are you finishing those up?
I'm still a little bit low in like getting appointments and things like that. I'm not doing a lot of, the lead generation that I'm doing is through open houses. So, oh, that's my guy right there.
Oh, that's a...
Yeah, I met him at an open house.
Oh, and he showed interest.
Yes, well, he's a realtor, and so anyway, so he came in. I gave him gave Peter his number, and he set up an appointment with him today.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but no, I'm doing okay with it. I'm not. I'm pulling it up right now, but I think.
What's the status?
Yeah.
Are you using that tracker?
Yes,
the lead?
I'm pulling it up
Perfect.
right now. I am using my tracker.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. I didn't do my Friday tracker yet, but I did do last week, so I got all the way through Thursday.
Uh-huh.
So the great thing is that on Thursday night I went to the Plymouth Street like open house thing, and so I got lots of contacts. I handed out business cards and just kind of mingled with some of the local businesses here in town.
Nice.
And then also this Thursday I'm going to the Farmers Open House thing from 5:30 to 7.
Got it.
And I'll be doing that. And then my open houses on the weekends, they've been really successful. So I'm happy about that. I haven't closed anything yet, or I have a buyer right now who is getting financed. Mm-hmm. And so we're waiting on, hopefully today we'll find out if they've been pre-approved.
Awesome.
And then of course the open house that I had over the weekend, I haven't had a chance to get it into my tracker yet, but it's going pretty good. I'm just a little bit low on my, I'm making my connections, but I'm not getting them into where they need to be, like a buyer, seller. I did two CMAs that I presented last week in Olivehurst, and which I got appointments for those, which was good. Mm-hmm. The seller, however, they're not going to sell at this time because it's not worth quite exactly what they thought it would be, so they're going to go ahead and keep their home. So I didn't get the listing on that. Mm-hmm. I have another CMA that's prepared for a friend of mine, and they're kind of giving me a little pushback on coming in and showing them what I prepared for them. But I'll reach out to them today, and then just trying to work with my buyers, trying to kind of figure out the business in general, because I'm really new. So the books don't tell you what the business is. The books don't tell you how you work with other people. They don't tell you what to expect from certain people. and you really have to have like a sixth sense about, okay, when somebody says something to you, what does it really mean? It doesn't always mean what it means on
To
the
you.
outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyways, but it's going good. I mean, I'm using my tools.
Perfect.
And I'm trying to do as much lead generation as I can, and especially through my open houses, and I'm consistently doing them. This weekend coming up, I already scheduled one last week for this following weekend.
Nice.
And so I'm just making sure that I keep doing one every single weekend if I can possibly do it.
Exactly. And then again, the books that we have, the material that we have, it's the guidance, what will work, yet it's the role play, scripts, doing it consistently is what's gonna master it.
Yeah.
And then what I'm hearing from you is, although you are intending to do your daily 10 by 4s, yet it's not at the full swing, I'm sensing that you are making your attempt to catch it up or keep doing it. The fact that you're using your tracker is good. Just make sure you don't lose the momentum of what you're doing.
Right.
And the fact that you said that you're consistently doing your lead generation, going to farmers market, or doing open houses consistently, you need to keep in mind that you need to build as a new agent your database to the number where you should start generating that business.
Right.
And they say, again, everybody is different. Realistically, they say usually by the three transactions that you do, you pretty much get the idea of how it works.
I just want a transaction so that I can see how it works, because I think that for me right now, I think the reason why I'm holding back so much is because I'm afraid of the paperwork.
No, and guess what?
I don't want to do the paperwork, and I can read through the contracts and I can look at it, but I'm really not going to understand it until I do one.
And yes, and I would not put your, negative thought that you're afraid of paperwork. We have to do it. We choose to be there. Yet the good thing is, if you're not paper savvy or you don't want to do that, keep your contract and disclosures that you know that you gotta do it regardless. It's your job. Nobody else can do it.
Right.
The other thing is keeping the file clean, organizing it, just hire a TC. And usually the buyers pay for it if you tell them the benefit up front. So make sure you do that. And that's one thing, you gotta do it. There is no way. If you're afraid, doesn't matter.
I just don't know, because sometimes I'm not sure what to say when, like, if I have somebody in front of me and I'm going over and, like today, I'm hoping that they're going to come to the office and put in an offer, but I've never had to do that before on the paperwork, and I don't want to seem like I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, oh, well, I'm new and I don't know how to do this.
You don't want to get that impression, because unless you don't do it, everybody starts from something doing it new. Right?
Yeah.
So I would say, I know Dawn helping a lot. I saw, I heard Dawn helping Annie for the first one, and Lindsay. And then if you think that that would be the first appointment that could give you some more confidence, if Dawn is here, ask him.
Yeah.
He's, that, and that's the thing, that we have it here for the new agents, that at any moment they don't feel, okay, we are in, now what to do?
Yeah, exactly.
There is somebody actually not somebody, there is a designated person assigned for the agents, and I believe Joy's more so taking care of the new trainees. Ask Don.
Yeah, he did tell me that if he was in this afternoon, that he would help me.
There you go.
Yeah, so, and if I can't get him in today, then maybe I can set up an appointment. That might be a little easier for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
So.
Perfect. So, and then they do have the copies of the handwritten notes. It's just the habit that you guys gotta build it regardless. And the handwritten notes, tour 4 houses, tour 10 houses in a week. Make sure if you're not at 10, as long as you start building the habit as a new agent, it's 5 or it's 4 or it's 7 or it's 6, keep doing it consistently. It's what it matters of having that habit built up.
Right, and with some of my CMAs, I'm doing some of my touring online, which they said that's fine. Of course, you want to be out in the field, but I try to make my board tours every Tuesday.
Nice.
And then, like last week, I couldn't make it because I was out of state, but that's okay because I made it the week before. And so tomorrow I'll be at board tour, and I'll do my, my tour then. Plus any of the CMAs I'm doing, I'm counting those as tours because I'm having to research the property. I'm having to look at location and comps and things like that. So I'm still getting an understanding of the market.
All right, yeah. So this one, what we're going to do today is we're going to get a head start. And this is with the assumption that we do have a listing.
Okay.
Right? So once you do have a listing, that's the first battle that you got. If you end up having in a situation where the seller was interviewing multiple agents, right? Or it might be a situation where the seller is so motivated, they are realistic on the price, their property is in a good condition, and now you got the listing. And this is coming after that. What is it that you should be setting the expectation and standard to the sellers? The first one that they say that, hey, getting a listing, it doesn't mean that sticking a sign in the yard. It's way more than that, right? It's saying that successful marketing and servicing a listing is very important because that is what it's going to help you get it sold, right? When you get the listing sold by attracting buyers to the listing, guess what you did? You just meet the expectations that you have set to your sellers. And there is a lot into it. So we're going to dig deeper into the marketing and the service aspect of once you gain the listing, right?
Yeah.
Then make sure that you meet and that's what every time, whether you have a seller or whether you have a buyer, you really need to know what their needs are, what their motivation is, because unless if you don't know, then it's just like there is no target of accomplishing the goal. Like, so see, if we have kids and we have a kid who is in the second grade. So if we don't target him that this is what you gotta do by the end of this, or the teachers don't target them, they're not gonna go there. Same thing with the sellers and buyers, you really need to dig them with the questions, and that's where the practice of scripting comes in. You need to nail down their motivation. And once you know their motivation, what are their expectations and what are their needs, is how it should be getting delivered, right? And then they say that winning a listing and providing the service is where you will be building your referral business. It's not about getting one transaction. So say if you get your first transaction, out of that transaction, your expectation should be one referral within 90 days and second, one referral every year.
Yeah.
That is what your expectation of each closing should be.
Okay.
Right? And if you have that, imagine in 2, 3, 4, or 5 years down the road, depending on how your pipeline builds up, your database is going to be your business of bringing the business to you on a monthly basis. It's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen in a week, or it's not going to happen in a month. Yet it's going to happen, right? And though that's going to happen by using the tools that you have.
Yeah.
Do your lead generation, do your lead follow-up, do your daily 10 by 4s and stuff like that. So see, that's a powerful information that we know, right? So then same thing. It's all about that same funnel. You need to keep looking at your funnel, right? We cover all that. Okay, we need to keep track of our funnel. How many leads are we getting in? Out of those leads, like, so say if you're hosting open house, if you got 10 leads out of it, how many leads have you converted into an appointment? Is it 2? Is it 4? Is it 6? Is it 0? Then that way, when you're tracking those, you can track your conversions as well, right? Because there's going to be a fallout no matter what. If I got 10 leads and I got 2 appointments out of it, or 1 appointment out of it, and I close on that, does that open house worth it?
Yeah.
Sure, right? So same thing. Once you have an appointment, so say if your appointment today show up and they write an offer, that means you're having an agreement. And then that agreement, although they will probably be questioning about the price, it can turn into a contract.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
That could be your first potential transaction. Right? So you need to make sure, and the minute you have the contract, that's where your clock gonna start for the payday. So that the importance of funnel is very important. Make sure you always keep feeding your business with the leads Leads going to get converted into appointments, to agreement, to contract, and then towards a closing. Right? Now, what's going to happen in marketing and servicing your listing? Very important thing, stage the property. In our area, there is very less stagers, to be honest with you, yet, or the properties, they are occupied.
Yeah.
Right? There's good percentage of the properties that are occupied. In that case, the property is already staged. You just need to condition the mind of the seller to make sure that it's not overcluttered. There is room, there is more floors, there is more walls to look at, so that when the buyer came in, they can vision themselves living in the property. So if it's a vacant property, always recommend your client to do the staging. They have some rebuttals as well. Not every seller would be willing to do the staging because staging does cost money. Yet there is some statistics that we will be going over, that how much value would it bring by doing a staging, and does that worth spending the money, right? So they say that whenever you service, your service to seller begins the moment they sign a listing agreement with you. You are now their advocate, their agent, and their fiduciary. So these are some legal terms, and they have like legal meanings. Like, what does fiduciary mean? Fiduciary is realistically a person who is legally or ethically entrusted to manage money or property between two or more parties. So when you got a listing agreement, you got hired as their fiduciary because you are taking control of their property. You will be in charge of making sure that you recommend the seller like what to do, so that the purpose of having the property listed for sale is to get your money out, or the debt that you have on it accomplished. So you are, guess what, legally entrusted to manage their property. In one way, it's a property, and that's what it's kind of money going to come after that. So they say that staging, it's important. So we're going to cover the first topic, staging the property. Staging the property, yes, as I talked about, that it's certainly going to cost money, right? Depending on what type of staging are we looking for? Are we looking to stage, like, have you been to the new construction homes, model homes, or anything like that?
Yeah.
You do, right?
Yeah.
So if you are in model home, you will see that they pretty much stage the whole house.
Yep.
Regardless, right?
Yeah.
So if they have staged not the family area or the living or the main area, they stage each room because they know there is a benefit of getting that. Same thing, you gonna be their eyes and ears to check it out, that when you are at the listing appointment, if the property needs a staging, let them know there is light staging, there is heavy staging that you can do, and how much is it that it's gonna cost. Number one, stage the property, and this is something, a script that we can use. Like they say, hey, think about buying a car. When you look online or see a car on a lot for sale, what attracts you the most? The shiny, clean car with newer tires compared to the rusty or dirty car, right? Apparently, the first thing that you will be thinking is, okay, how much it's going to cost, right? And then now it comes down to price and condition of the property. It is exactly the same scenario with the properties. So if the property is staged well or presented well and the condition is nice, those properties are not staying longer. It's not like right now we are in a market, and I'm just talking about our market, right? We are in a market where there is less months of 2 months of inventory.
Yeah.
So it is apparently a seller's market. What does that mean to you? That means that they say, statistics says that for a normal market, it needs to have 5 months or more inventory, right?
Yeah.
So that's, okay, so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so same thing. If you are sitting with the client, make sure you use your scripts well enough that they do see the value of what you're saying. Like if you're using an analogy of a car, compare it with a property, they're probably gonna get an idea, and usually it works. If you're using a real-time example, it always works. So whenever you're in an objection mode and they are throwing objection on you, always mention that. Always use an example to be realistic. And it helps, right? So what's the goal of the staging? The goal of the staging is to present the best face of the home, right? Second, maximize the spaciousness of the home. Third, allow visiting buyers to envision themselves in the home instead of seeing the several at every turn. So if, and then in the next page there, and this is a good statistics to use. This is a good one to use if somebody's throwing an objection. They say that 32% of realtors report 1% to 5% increase in offer if they stage the property. 16% realtors say it's a 6 to 10% increase in offer. 3% realtors say it's an increase of 11 to 15% increase in the offer, right? So they say median cost spent on a staging is about 675. And if you check the diagram here, they say that the number one staging that they recommend is do it in the living room, kitchen, master, dining, and then go to master bath. If you're not doing the whole house, and this applies more so for a vacant property. If the property is already occupied, apparently our goal for the sellers to look at is first that more floors, make sure there's less furniture, whatever they've not been using for years, they're apparently not going to use it now anyways. So have them put it on a storage. Apparently the storage is going to cost one way or another. Always come with them as their consultant. Let them know that if you are not using this much, where is it that you can, take it out? Say it in your own ways, and that's what we need to make sure. If we're meeting a seller or a buyer, we need to know what type of personality they are. Currently, I have a client who is just like so, not direct, but I never get to the point where I feel that he's in a mode I should ask, hey, how's the weather out there?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
he's
not
like
very friendly.
Not friendly. He's like cutthroat New Yorker kind of person.
Yeah.
And again, sorry, I didn't mean to discriminate or anything. Like everybody carries a personality.
He's just busy and he just wants numbers.
He just wants the numbers. Get it done. Okay. Are you available? Yes. What time? This time. Okay. I'll call you. Done.
Yeah.
Never ever say, how are you doing?
Right.
So again, that's where you're going to come. And when you come to meet a seller who have a very direct personality, make sure you handle that very directly.
Right.
Hey, Mr. Seller, I know that this is an option that I'm going to talk about. Staging is important. Your house is currently vacant. It does not have any homely feeling, and I would highly recommend to get a staging. It's going to cost from this to this, and then it worth this. So I would probably use these statistics. Right?
Now, who pays for the staging?
Seller.
The seller does. Okay.
Yes. Sometimes I know that I'll say majority of the time sellers, or sometimes what the agents say, hey, we'll pay for the staging, and once the property sold, you will reimburse this back. Or in Sacramento and stuff, the agents are paying for the staging.
Yeah.
So whenever there is a contract, I would probably say majority of the times the things are negotiable. The commission is negotiable. Staging part, it's a negotiable. Warranty part is a negotiable, depending on what type of client that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
In one instance, we were at a point where home warranty is a deal breaker. Seller is not willing to give it, buyer wants to take it. So guess what we did? Both the agents get in and we contribute half. We save the deal. So what I'm saying is there is no set rules that, hey, we got taught that sellers pay the staging, so you're going to pay it, I'm not going to pay it. Always think outside the box to make it a win-win strategy. So you can say, hey, Mr. Seller, I would be glad to pay for the staging, and that's going to be one of the marketing that I will be helping you. Yet, if the property did not sell, you will be reimbursing that to me. Right? Put that in a listing agreement. Or, Mr. Seller, I do see the value, and after checking the numbers, it sounds like it's going to be tight on the budget right now, yet I can help you and then, pay it back, or you can say this is an offer, or sometimes the agents, you do use that as a marketing tool. That agent is not offering your staging, will do staging for you, and there is no charge to it. The likelihood of the seller gets picking that stager is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So every time, make sure that it's your business, you are the business owners, and you can make the decision. And as long as those decisions that has been agreed between the seller and the listing agent, they are on a listing agreement, the broker is aware of it. Right?
Yeah.
So staging, stand like we, majority of the time we have an occupied listing. And the other thing is there is not too many stagers here in our town. So we use the one from Sacramento. Again, it all depends on the seller, yet the value of having a stager is here. When they're saying 32% of realtors are saying 1 to 5% increase in the offer. If the staging is costing, $675 and the house is for $200 or $300K, and even if there is 1% increase in the offer by staging it, that means there is $3,000 that we're talking about. And if it's 5% as per statistics, that means we're talking about $15,000 difference.
Right.
Does it worth it? Yes, certainly it does it. Right? Staging does bring, the condition and the price does bring a value back, a return on investment, especially on the staging back regardless.
How can you stage, you said that you can stage it for them, like if you just went in there and kind of went to their house and said, okay, so let's rearrange this stuff and let's take some of this stuff out and let's just make it an open floor plan, more open look and feel, and let's take this off the wall and let's just, so you can go in and do that yourself though, right? You don't have to pay somebody to do that, or you do, or what do you do?
No, usually as long as, you go with the seller, what is it that, so say, I'm assuming you're talking about an occupied property.
Right.
Correct? So if it's an occupied property and if it's their home for 5 or more than that years, apparently there is stuff that they're not using it. So yes, you can say, hey, as a professional, I tour the homes every day. Right? So if they're saying, so that you're telling them the truth. If you're in the habit of doing daily 10 by 4s, that means you're touring 10 homes on a weekly day. So you are checking on average more than 1 home a day. Right? And if you're hosting an open house or showing to your buyers, so if you're checking out the houses every day and checking those houses in the experience, you can say, hey, it doesn't make sense for me, Mr. Seller, that there is 6 photos on this wall. How about we'll just take 2 and take the rest 4. Guess what? It's going to give a wall a huge look. Right? So I'm just picking this example, although these are the 6 perspectives of what Gary trained us, which means, well, I'm just saying, if they have a 6 pictures on one wall, guess what? We can say, hey, let's do it down to 2, can we? It's going to give a wall a bigger, vision to the seller, to the buyers. So yes, you can recommend them if it's occupied. Always say, hey, decluttering in your way, how you want it, more floors in your way. And if the house, cosmetic stuff is paint. If the house you feel that, oh, they're having, kids in the house, how much would it worth in investing a paint?
Right, doing some interior painting.
The house. Right? Again, it depends, okay, if the seller is absolutely, in a financial, situation where they can't invest into it, that is something they either need to think out of the box, because apparently just doing some cosmetic stuff, it's going to bring more to the table instead of having somebody negotiating double than what it's going to cost.
Right.
Right? So that's where they're looking at you as an expert. So sure, to answer your question, you sure can recommend this, do this, do this, do this, and then see what they take care. Right? Now, and then there are a few objections. So I'm going to say the objection and you're going to say, how do you handle the following? I don't see why this is so important. Like why the staging is so important. So the response could be, if we want to sell your home faster or for more money than your competing sellers, then we need to stand out in terms of the condition. Same thing, use the analogy, okay? If you are going out to buy a car and you see a newer, shinier car in the lot, or online compared to the one that is of for sale by owner, yet it's dirty or whatever, who would you, looking to buy? Apparently, there's going to be more question in regards to the dirty car that, oh, what if it's been, maintained properly? Has it been serviced or, whatever? So there's lots of questions that's going to come in. And if there's lots of questions coming into the client's mind, that means there is more going to come off the price.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The second objection, they're saying, do we really have to make this repair? Like we just talked about the paint.
Like the painting, yeah.
Right? Or there's holes in the wall or whatever. Or there's a broken door, right? Or the vinyl is peeling. These small cosmetic stuff, especially the flooring and the paint, it always bring value back. So they say, okay, we can sell it just the way it is, but it's likely to take longer and we probably won't get as much money. My recommendation is to have it repaired so that we can get the best price possible in the shortest amount of time. The choice is yours. What would you like to do? Make the repair or take longer to sell? This is all scripts. You always need to have them talk about tie-down question. Give them a feeling that that's your choice, right? It's your choice. It's your property. Yet, if you're hiring me as your professional, I would highly recommend to do that because eventually it's going to, one way or another, if we do it upfront at less cost compared to taking out more at the negotiation, right? What would you like to do? Do you want to sell it faster? Or you want to have the property stay longer on the market or have the buyer give more thoughts to negotiate? What you want to do, Mr. Seller? So if you're asking those tied out questions or open-ended questions where you want to have them say the same thing that you're recommending is what is important. And that's what you need to practice the scripts, the objections. And that's where the tools that we have is more important, right? Now the third one, they say, why can't we sell the house as is? Sure. Would you prefer to pay a few $100s to paint a room or do you prefer to deduct $500 to $1,000? Right? Since the buyers use outstanding repairs to negotiate a lower price, it's usually in your best interest to make repairs rather than to have negotiate with the buyer. Simple. Especially cosmetic stuff. And again, as I said, every seller is different. You are the professional who is getting, hired by them as their agent, as their fiduciary, as their advocate. You tell them, you give them the option and see what is it that they can do to make it happen. Yet, at some instance, if it could not happen, then at least you can go back, all right, Mr. Seller, if you got an offer which is less than $5,000 and you call the agent, hey, Mr. Agent, why the offer is lower? Because the house needs a paint. All right, Mr. Seller, remember the conversation we have prior to putting the house onto the market where I mentioned that buyers will use the repairs as a negotiation tool, and that's exactly where we are. The agent is saying the reason why they're offering less than $5,000 less than what you're asking for is because your house needs a paint. Now let's talk about how much the paint is going to cost you. Maybe $2,000 if you're doing the whole interior, including the paint and the labor and the material. And there are some sellers who are handy dandy. They can do it by themselves. So it is just the cost of your time and the material. So now going back, let's do the maths. They're asking $5,000 because they do see that the house needs a paint. So are you going for a $3,000 reduction? Right? Now, how much was it that we were talking about up front?
Right.
So if they don't listen to you, don't be afraid to bring it back onto the table. Because they know they didn't listen to you. Don't be in a mode that, oh my God, what to do? You need to know why there is a less offer than the asking price. You only interpret the market. You are their facilitator. You are their advocates to have advise them right thing. At the end, decision is theirs. So if that's their decision, you should not be afraid to come onto the table very confidently. We had this conversation, Mr. Seller. Now what do you want to do? You want to give them a $5,000 reduction or you want to offer them a paint? Now, if you are offering them, or they may say, okay, I'll paint the house. Apparently, if you're offering them a paint, guess what? They're probably going to use the negotiation tool because the property is not in the right right condition for the price that we are asking for, right? At that point, again, being their advocate, being their trusted agent, you should be supposed to give them, at this point, if you have a $5,000 reduction, you can say, hey, we can counter it back saying that, hey, the seller will do the paint if that's the only thing, and negotiate from there. Right?
Yeah, I saw that this weekend when the family came into the home because there was some cosmetic stuff with the home. There was some rips in the vinyl in the kitchen and dining room area. There was a little bit of a discoloration where the fridge had sat previously. There were some cabinets that needed small repairs and things like that. And the buyers were like, well, the seller needs to do all this stuff before we're going to buy. Well, that's something that the seller doesn't have to do necessarily, and that's what I told them on the phone. I said, well, you can offer whatever you're going to offer, and you can use these items to say, well, this is the reason why we're offering this much. And I was kind of talking to him a little bit about that at the open house. And I said, so don't feel afraid don't feel that you have to offer full price. And, but for them to offer less and expect the seller to do more is kind of it's not beneficial for them, because the seller is probably going to budge on one or the other, probably not on both.
Yeah, and again, I would say we are not the decision makers.
Right. No, I know. And that's what I tell them. I said, all we can do is just put it out there and see what happens,
Correct. Right. So I think you did the right job, right? And now then it's marketing the listing, right? So in listing presentation, we did cover about 14-step marketing plan. So I want you to read those 14 steps because they're going to give you an idea, okay, what it is all about. So first,
it says price the home competitively with the current market and price trends.
Got it. Second,
advise sellers on how to attract buyers by showing their home in the best possible light. Place for sale signs with property flyers easily accessible to drive-by buyers. Respond to all buyer inquiries immediately. Optimize the home's internet presence by posting your property in the Keller Williams listing system, local and global MLS systems, and on social media with plenty of photographs and description of the property. Market the home on multiple websites, including your own site, like Keller Williams local office and Keller Williams national sites, to attract both local and out-of-town buyers. Post the home on your branded Keller Williams app. Create flyers and comment cards for viewers of the property.
Got it.
Distribute just listed notices to neighbors, encouraging them to tell family and friends about the home. Target your marketing to active real estate agents who specialize in selling homes in this neighborhood.
Got it.
Include the home in your company and MLS tours, allowing other agents to see the home for themselves.
Got it.
Create an open house schedule and market and host the open house to promote the property to prospective buyers. Target active buyers and investors in your database who are looking for homes in this price range and area. Provide the seller with weekly updates detailing your marketing efforts, including comments from the prospective buyers and agents who have visited the home.
See, it's all about, guess what? Customer experience, providing that experience. And if you are telling your client after getting a listing that this is what we are doing, communicating them the importance, what the results are getting out of it, what are the chances that if they have not listened to you at the first moment, like doing the staging or doing some minor repairs, and if within 2 or 3 weeks, the proper communication and showing them what you're doing, and it's not a lack of effort from you, it's just maybe the repair or the condition of the property, or the property is not appealing to the buyers that much. We need to do some price adjustment. One thing or another, this is a good roadmap. What is it, 14 things that you're doing to the client, and tell them. Right? How effective it is if you put a sign on the yard and say, hey, we are putting the property onto the market, and pick up the phone and tell them this is happening today. Second, hey, Mr. Seller, we have received 2 calls out of those sign, and I'm showing the property. Or Mr. Seller, we have 5 agents who has called and they will be touring the property. Or Mr. Seller, we have followed up with all the showings and these are the feedback, and apparently we can see that pretty much everybody is asking that the property needs some cosmetic lift, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, if you are doing, and usually if you have a listing, the listing is hot for the first 30 days. 2 weeks are critical. First 2 weeks are critical.
So
Very
even
critical.
before putting the listing on, they probably need to take heed and do some cosmetic stuff before you even put it up. Yeah.
Right? So make sure you use that.
Okay.
Right? If you're getting a listing, you need to say, hey, Mr. Seller, I have a 14-piece marketing plan that I'll be doing for your home. Do you want to hear that? Right? Go over it. Show them the importance that if you're hiring, what is it that you will be doing for them?
Right.
Okay. Then apparently they talked about pricing is important, signage is important, staging is important, images of a property is important, and then they said buyer profile. And then apparently buyer profile, it doesn't apply pretty much in our case. You have to say if you have a listing which is only 2-bedroom, 1 bath, then we know what type of demographics that we are hitting. Either single person or a single mom or a single dad or a kid who's just like on their own. They're gonna start with a girlfriend, whatever. So if you have a listing which is 2-bedroom.
Here are some of our Beale Air Force Base people.
Yes, Bill,
Yeah.
right? So if you're getting a listing, what type of buyers that we're gonna hit.
Right.
If it's on the other end, if it's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath home, then we know it's gonna be a larger family who will be targeting for that.
Yeah.
Or the family who is outgrowing now. They started by having a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and now they have 2 kids or they have 3 kids, and they are grown up and they want their own room. So that's the target of that house. Right? So that's why it's very important whenever you have your marketing plan, it should be very effectively utilized and put in service. Now, holding an open house. We just pretty much covered how important it is to hold an open house. What type of lead generation are we getting, right? So there is a 15-minute, there is a video, I believe. Staging objections, we did that. Marketing plan, we just did that. Watch the video, right? So now, before we go into the house, open house, we're gonna watch this video. And it will tell you.
Hi, I'm Josh Bath, and I'm here to talk to you about creating a wow experience with your clients. Creating that wow experience with your clients starts right from the initial interview. When you're sitting down with them and you're listening to them and you're asking them good questions, that's really what sets you apart from the rest of the agents that just go in there and talk. The mindset should be not what am I going to ask them next before they've even finished their sentence with you. The mindset should be, what are you saying to me? A couple of things that I do to establish a really good wow experience for my clients. I tell them that a photographer is going to contact them. I tell them that a home stager is going to contact them. And after that's done, I follow up with them. And I ask them, so how was your experience with my photographer? Now, I already know that the photographer I've chosen is incredible. And they're going to deliver great service the way I deliver service. Except I get to use the service they use as an extension for the energy I'm creating with them in that wow experience. Once their home's listed, how I continue on with that wow experience, I just communicate with them almost every other day. And that communication is either by phone, by text, or follow up on an email. The advice I would give you if you're looking for a place to begin, sit down with a notepad, paper, in a quiet place, and just start writing out naturally in your mind everything that you do from the moment you sat in their living room to the moment you've gone back to the office and handed the file to your assistant. How are you communicating with them? What are you doing? These are all incredible steps to communicate back to your seller because normally they don't know what's going on. And if you're telling them what you're doing, you're helping them remove some of that fear and building confidence and trust in you, which is exactly what creates that wow experience. For people thinking that they need to do something big and as a result never doing anything at all, go back to small. It's not about being over the top and big. Sometimes wow is just following up with them when you said you were going to follow up with them. Or it could just be as simple as paying attention to some of their needs, like they don't have time to cut the grass. Maybe you might hire someone to cut the grass. That'll blow their mind. And for you, you can hire a local neighborhood kid. That doesn't cost very much. Little things like that, though, go a long way for referral business and creating a customer for life, that wow experience.
Right? So see, same thing. It's all about the customer service. You need to understand that the clientele that we have, what are their needs? What is it that they're looking for? Right? So open house. What's the target? So let me ask you this. Give me two things. What is it that you're getting out of open house?
I get new leads.
Perfect.
And I'm also getting feedback from housing around the area.
Got it. So see, again, the number one tool or the outcome of an open house are the leads. The leads are coming into a non-aggressive environment.
Right.
The buyers, they love to go to open house, and the buyers who are going to open house, guess what? They have a mindset. Either they're looking to buy or they have plans to remodel or see what is it that's going on in the neighbor, or eventually they're gonna, upsize, downsize, relocate. And some, they might be nosy who want to know what's going on in the neighbor, and those would be the best buyers to get. You know why? Because you're probably gonna get to know first who is thinking about buying in the selling in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So all the leads that are coming into an open house, they should be the productive leads. The only difference is you can categorize it. It may not be the hot lead.
Right.
It must be a warm lead.
Mm-hmm.
It must be a nurture. It must be a person who should be in your database. And if they are not buying, we end up in a position where there was a lead who got onto the online inquiry, right? We reached them right away, and she pretty much turned me down. I called right after that and mentioned, hey, I apologize. It looks like the things didn't turn out right by having the conversation, because I was sitting next to it and thought to give you a call because this is now it should be. Mm-hmm. Guess what? I not only get an appointment to tour her property, and guess what? When she's ready, I'll be her agent. Along that, she referred me an lead who were thinking about selling, and we are having a listing onto the market. Mm. And she sent me another referral, and that lady is looking for after the January, New Year.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, any lead that's coming in, they may not be buying it right now. Mm-hmm. Yet they could be used as a nurture. They could be used as a referral source. Mm-hmm. You just need to validate and condition your mind that every lead coming in, I do have a system and what to get out of it. Mm-hmm. An open house, it's the sweat equity. You're not investing any money into it. You're investing your time. Apparently, besides science, you have to invest into those one time regardless. If not, then I know the office has some.
Yeah, I use Steve a lot. He's a great resource for open houses.
Right. So it's all about your time. I'm
spending about $25 a week.
Okay.
Doing open houses, because I'll bring snacks, and I invest in balloons because those attract more people.
Uh-huh.
So I'm spending about $25 a week is all in my open houses. But I'm getting a lot of new people I would have never met if I didn't do them.
Exactly.
People that own 4 or 5 houses that are going to be selling one house a year. Mm-hmm. And no, it's not, I want to buy this house right here and right now. But actually, that did happen on my first open house, that Rick went into contract the day after, or the following business day on Monday. He went into contract on the house, that because I had the open house. Now I didn't get anything out of it, but at the same time, I helped somebody. Mm-hmm. I'm gaining trust with Rick. Mm-hmm. I'm building a relationship with him so that he's going to be more likely to help me mm-hmm. generate business. And maybe, like anybody you work with, you're going to say, yeah, maybe you can't take something on right away. And you're like, well, listen, I know this person who can. And that's where I want to be. I want to be, doing things for other people so that when they're too busy to do it, they're going to call me and ask me to help. And that's what I want to do.
Exactly. And the way, if you're doing your things, guess what? Your pipeline should be plenty of contacts where it should be generating business.
And I've only done it for 3 weeks. So, that's not very much time. So I just keep doing it every weekend as much as I possibly can. And then hopefully 2-3 months down the road, I'll have a good
transaction
Yeah.
going on, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So again, the more visits, buyers love open houses. They feel that it's a relatively safe or non-aggressive sale environment. They provide provide an opportunity to have a face-to-face prospecting and open house event, and the time leading up after another provides opportunity for you to build a relation.
Mhm.
Put your name out there.
Right.
So these are the great benefits. And then again, they're talking about, now we already watched the video, and see, you listen to him, that he wants, it's not about what I'm going to say next. It's about, okay, what is it that they're saying and how I'm responding to that.
Mhm.
It's a tied down question here that you got to build a relationship, that they should share with you what their intent is. Are they ready buyers right now? Or they are 6 months down the road.
Mhm.
It's just a non-aggressive environment where people can talk, right? So now Gary is saying that, again, it's another way to build your database, to get your professional word of name out there that you're real estate. And Gary is saying, Gary recommends for door knocking. He said in a shift market, if you're hosting an open house, knock on 100 doors.
Yeah, I did that on the first open house I did. I canvassed 15 doors up, 15 doors across, and a lot of the neighbors came on Friday night. I mean, I had a lot of the neighbors coming over, and some of them were just looking, just to see. But some of them had family members that were living in apartments that are going to be, moving and things like that. So I didn't canvass on my second one, which I'm glad that I didn't. Because if I would have, because the second venue was much smaller and a little bit more lower price area.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that it was better that I didn't canvass on that one, because then the neighbors came over and inquired about it.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have canvassed on that one, they would have already had all the information in front of them and they wouldn't have needed to come.
Yeah. And I would probably say, whenever you're doing an open house, make sure you qualify the house as well. What is your target out of that open house?
Mm-hmm.
Put it on a piece of paper that, all right, my intent to get this many, okay, on this open house, my intent is to get 10, I'm making an example up right here.
Yeah, that's okay.
My intent is to get 10 leads out of it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now the question is how I'm going to get the leads. Number one thing, sign. Are you putting plenty of sign? Do you have a map in front of you where you have dotted down the perfect spots where it should be easy for
that out,
right? So
because I didn't know the area well enough, and that's exactly what I should have done. I should have printed out a map of the area, and then I should have went with a little marker and marked everywhere I was going to put my signs, because my husband came over and I asked him to move some signs for me. But that was already an hour and a half after I was into the open house, so I lost that marketing for an hour and a half of my 4-hour open house because I didn't have my signs in the right places because I wasn't familiar with the area. Yeah. So next time,
you're gonna do that, see?
See, I learned something. Next time, I'm going to, and I was pressed for time on Friday night, so when I went over there too, because I always preview the house before I do my open house. So I know where I'm going to set my stuff at. I know what type of things I'm going to bring with me to the open house, if I need to bring my cleaning kit or I need to bring my, I do like a little bit of staging, like some candles for the season or whatever, you know what I mean? But I go and I look at the house the night before I do my open house, so that I know where I'm going to set my stuff up at. I know a little bit about the house. If they ask me, well, where's the master bathroom, bedroom, it's going to be upstairs on the left, I want to know the house a little bit before they come.
And there is a great open house. There is a whole session for open house. So again, you need to target what is it that you want to get out of it.
Yeah, I'm building my database with it. That's what I'm doing, absolutely. And this weekend I only got four people that came. But those 4 people that came, the one couple that came, I found out that they had a major plumbing issue in the house that they're in. They're in the final stages of repairing it. Next year they want to sell their home and they want to buy another one.
There you go.
And they're not working with anybody yet. They took my business card. I offered them a free CMA. And they said not at this time because they're still working on their repairs and things like that. But she looked right at me in the eye and she said, I have your card. I will call you.
There you go.
And I'm like, that's awesome. And I didn't get anything out of it right away. But who knows, 6 months down the line, when they're finalized with all of their repairs.
Did you get their phone number?
Yeah, I did.
Perfect.
Mhm.
So that's all you got to contact.
Yeah, and I'll follow up with them in maybe a month and just
See,
say, hey, we met at the open house, just checking up with you. How's the repairs going?
I would probably write a note if you have their address.
I do have their address, so I was going to send them a handwritten note too, thanking them for coming to the open house.
There you go. Throw 2 more business cards in there.
Yeah.
And put a Disney clause. Hey, I'll be consistently following up on a monthly basis. In that way, if you need any help in regards to the plumbing that you're doing. Oh, by the way, do you have a plumber that you're relying on? Or do you need a referral? Your husband is a contractor.
Yeah, he is.
He's flooring in.
Flooring.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So see?
Yeah.
Always
we
give
did that
something.
with the open house. We told the listing agent to let the seller know that my husband can repair the floors in there for him for very little cost.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right?
So.
So it's all about the mindset and looking for the needs or the motivation, what is it that can be accomplished on all that end.
Mm-hmm.
Now the third important factor that it is all about, and now they're talking about Facebook as well. If you're doing an open house, make sure you post it on Facebook.
I don't know how to do that yet, but I downloaded the car website. They sent me like a little invitation thing. I signed up for it. It's on January 24th in Sacramento. But they gave me a whole email like book thing that explains to you how to market your business on Facebook with absolutely no money. I haven't had a chance to look into it yet, but that's
I would
definitely
say
something.
use our great source, Jessica. She's doing the questionnaire. She's hosting the Monday or Thursday class.
Mm-hmm.
Come on into that. You don't need to go to 10 different places. Jessica knows a lot about what are the tools that you can use and maximize. And as a matter of fact, she posted onto the KW as well. If you have an open house, share with her, hey, Jessica, could you advertise that for me?
Oh,
And
okay.
then,
I didn't know that.
no, you don't need, I mean, you're very welcome to go. Yet, why not to use the internal sources that we have?
Yeah, I didn't know that she would advertise my open houses for me.
Thursdays,
Okay.
and she usually come up and she has a sign-up sheet for her. She has an open questionnaire. I saw Jan was here with her
Yeah,
last time.
no, I do know about that. I just didn't know that she could advertise
Yeah, Monday,
for our open houses.
Thursdays.
Because I know that the listing agent usually puts it in MLS, and that's all I.
No, MLS is but make sure the listing agent does put it. You can advertise onto the Facebook. Because if you're hosting an open house, make sure you get the permission of the agent. Hey, I'm hosting it. I will be advertising it for this open house. And at the bottom, it always shows the listing courtesy of so and so.
Okay, so just add the listing agent.
Yeah, just say, hey, I will be advertising. You need to get, how are you going to attract more leads? Open house signs are one.
Mm-hmm.
Internet is the second thing.
Yeah.
MLS is the third thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tweet. I don't use Twitter, but people use it.
I don't.
Facebook, other stuff.
I'm on Facebook, so I just have to get
Yeah.
get it to the point where I can function with it because I don't know how to use it very well yet.
I would probably say if you have any question, come to Jessica's class, ask those questions because she has set aside a time out of her schedule
Mm-hmm.
to help the agents asking all these questions so they not be like running around, okay, what to do next.
Yeah.
Take full advantage of that.
I'm going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, because she's awesome. She's awesome
I know
in that
she is.
department.
Well, she helped me set everything up and even do a couple of things on the side. I just didn't know that was a benefit of her, so I'll use it.
All right, yeah. So the third thing, the main important third thing is about communicate with the seller. You need to communicate with the seller whatever you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
The 14-plan marketing piece, as I talked about, if you're doing 14 things, that should be covered in 14 calls.
That's what I was going to say, 14 calls or emails or text messages, whatever.
Ask the seller what's their preference of the communication. If they choose for an email, I would highly recommend, all right, Mr. Seller, I respect that you would like to get emails. We will be doing that. Yet my standard of following up is to have a conversation on a weekly basis. So I usually follow up, say, on Tuesday. Would Tuesday be the best day for me to call you? I want to talk with you.
Yeah.
Because guess what? In the first 2 weeks, if it's no selling, then we're talking about price adjustment.
Yep.
If we are talking about feedback and everybody's coming back same thing, then we need to address it. We need to fix it, Mr. Seller. right?
Yeah.
So you need to be the honest and very confident person coming up with the statistics, what's going and what's not what's going good and what's not going good, so that the
Right.
seller won't lose the money or the time.
Right, because
Right.
the longer it sits in the market, the more money the sellers put
Going out of their pocket,
Mhm.
right? So same thing, communication is key. And they say it's like you need to outperform what you have promised them. If you say that I'll be catching up once, do a 2 phone calls a week. If they have said that, and then same thing, how he says that on the open house, if I would be sending an um, um, a photographer to take the listing, you should better be following up. Hey, how was your experience with that?
Mhm.
What do you think about the photographer? And we will probably be sharing all the photos once they come in with you directly to approve. We're going to pick the best ones, and if you approve it all, great. If not, then we're going to show you everything else as well, and whichever you want. So always outperform on what they're saying, right? So same thing, communication tips. Now, next thing is the communication checklist. So you need to find out what their preference is. Do they want phone, email, or text? Do they want twice a week, once a week, or once a month, right? Or every day?
Mhm.
Don't be surprised if somebody say, I want to news every day. All right, Mr. Seller, I'll be calling you for the first 14 days every day how things are going. And yet we already talked about how first 2 to 3 weeks are critical. And if there is not activity going on, it sounds like we'll probably be having intense conversations. So head start them with their mindset. What is it that they need to do? Then March start, same thing. If the person is like more like, mirror match their communication type. If they are direct, be direct. If they want on the point, give them on the point. If they want to be like more detail, give more details, right? So you need to see what their style is. Always update. Make sure you give them update, even if there is no news. If there is no news this Tuesday, hey, Mr. Salar, I know I have promised you about the communication. There is no news. We do not have any activity going on, and yet, I just want to let you know that we're still working, and this is in progress. Yet we don't have any news for this week. We'll be following up next week if you have any question, or it sounds like since we are slowing down on the activity, we need to talk about the price adjustment.
Mhm.
Start planting the seeds.
Right.
Don't get in a position where they feel that you haven't done the job enough, and then they are overwhelming that you didn't do the job, that's why my property not sell.
Mhm.
If you do everything, they would probably be in that victim mode that why in the world we didn't listen to our agent up front.
Right.
Right? So be prompt. If you have set a weekly follow-up, great. If not, and they have contacted you, be prompt. Unless say right now you're in a meeting, you can't. So make sure they have be prompt to mean don't wait for 2 days.
Right. Do it within the day, as
Same
soon as you possibly can.
Correct, within a
Right.
day, right?
Yep.
Never talk back. Always communicate. If you think that they are not in an agreement, always prompt them to ask those questions so they understand what you're intending to say,
Mhm.
right? Keep the log of the communication that you have. Make sure the decision makers are always been included in whatever going on, and have a great attitude. Always be positive.
Yeah.
Right? All right, Mr. Salar, I absolutely understand that it's not selling yet. The activity that we are getting, at the end of the day, it's all about 2 things. Either you want to wait longer and we can look for that buyer who you're looking for, or you want to make an adjustment right now since we do not have any showing for the past 3 weeks. Again, some sellers listen, some don't.
Yeah.
It's their property.
Right.
You're not the decision maker, you're the facilitators.
Right.
Always tell them what you think, and at the end the decision is going to be theirs.
Yeah.
Right? Now again, customers experience, they mentioned that they hired them to tell you the truth, right? They hired them to make sure what needs to be done, that you should tell them, instead of not standing up and saying, hey, these 6 pictures, they are just like covering the whole wall. Oh, I know these are all your family pictures. Oh, how precious. Leave them. No, just be honest. Hey, Mr. Salar, more wall, this buyer can picturize. I get that it's valuable to you. I get that it's personal, yet I would highly recommend to take 4 out.
Mhm.
Choice is yours, which one you want to take it out. And before the listing, I would highly recommend to take it out. So are you taking it out? See,
So
I say that,
Yeah.
and I put them in a spot that they should say yes.
Yeah. You make them think about what their goal is.
Yeah.
And then you give them the choice.
Right? So we cover that. Right? So
I don't know who that is, Howard, but anyways.
always under promise and over deliver. Same thing. If you say I'm communicating with weekly, give them 2 calls until they say, hey, you know what? I know you have say 1 a week, so we are absolutely okay if you give us a 1 a call.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you do for them, tell them you did it.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell them you're gonna do it, and then
Tell them I did it. Yeah. So they know it was done.
right? So it's important. It's very important. Now, and I think there is one video as well. Let me make sure that's, I think it should fit in here. You know what? I think we clicked the first one about the service, the communication first. This is more so an open house. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So I'm just gonna play that, how whole and effective open house.
Hi, I'm Chris Suarez, and I'm here to tell you the 5 steps to holding an effective open house. Step 1, strategically select the home you want to hold open. Choose a home that gives you the greatest potential to have buyers and sellers find you. This might be a home that is in a great traffic pattern, whether that be car traffic or people walking by in a walkable neighborhood in your community. Select a home around a local event where neighbors or even out-of-town people might be stopping in. Step 2 of holding an effective open house is advertising and marketing. Marketing begins a week in advance of any open house you might hold open. Begin by posting internet ads a week before. Get a sign in the yard and let neighbors and passerbys know that the home will be open later in the week. Remember to contact both by phone and email any internet leads or phone calls you've received on that listing prior to the open house. Don't forget to make 50 calls around the home prior to the open house and door knock. The radius of about 2 or 3 blocks. Step 3, know your scripts. Know what you're going to say to greet the visitor. Know what questions you're going to ask while they're in the home. One of the greatest first lines you could use is, thanks for stopping in to tour my open house. Are you one of the neighbors, or are you out shopping for a home today? Immediately you'll know if you're dealing with a potential buyer or a potential seller. Step 4 is keep the right mindset and prepare. Remember, open houses are lead generation activities, so enter with the mindset of a top lead generator. Prepare yourself with comparable properties, market research, at least 2 or 3 other homes that you could potentially show should the opportunity arise. And step 5, always follow up with every lead that comes through that door. Call them, email them, write thank you notes that same day. A simple follow-up script to use directly after an open house goes like this. Thanks for stopping into my open house this morning. It was great to meet you. I did a little bit of digging in the office after we met and after the open house and found 3 other properties I think really fit your search criteria. I know the home that we saw this morning wasn't quite perfect, but these 3 have some real potential. We could get into them tomorrow at 4 or at 6, which would work better for you. Great, let's meet at my office and we can go from there. My biggest aha when doing open houses is remembering open houses are not a technique to keep current sellers happy. In reality, open houses are great lead generation tools to connect with potential future buyers and sellers. By using effective scripts and systems leading up to the open house and great follow-up techniques after the open house, you'll build a met database of future buyers and sellers. Thanks for watching Kino Connect and make it a great day.
Okay. So again, I'm sorry, I just put the first one first. Yet, it's all about the lead generation and the follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Open house, make sure as they talked about, I'm just going back to cover a couple of things, make sure it's a good one. It's not in a busy traffic. And then the 5 techniques that he talked about. You need to make sure that you are prepared how when they enter into the open house, by the time you say bye to them, what is it that you're going to do for them? Right? So same thing, now I'm switching back to the service that he mentioned. Communication is key, yet doing and performing and letting them know what you're doing is more important as well. Right? Now the next one is always solution oriented. If there is a problem, do not call or panic your seller if you don't have a solution. And yet that doesn't mean that apparently, ethically, you're obligated to disclose anything that is in pertaining to property or whatever it is. Yet, whenever you talk with your client, if there is a problem, bring to solution, because if there is no solution, there is no problem. If there is no solution of an issue if you do not, they train us, they say, if you do not have a solution to the issue that you're encountering on behalf of seller, it's not a problem. A problem is if there is two solutions to it. That's where it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then again,
the problem has to be solved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's not a problem.
Right.
You have no choice.
Yeah.
Right? It's that black or white, simple, right? So develop your staging resources. Again, it's make sure that if you know a stager, put it in there. If not, then maybe, find out if from your sphere somebody has a passion for doing it. And although they may not be doing it as a professional, yet they're doing good enough that it deserves them to get into this business or get some extra business from you as a resource.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, super service. Super stands for sincerity, be honest and reliable. We are on page number 25.
I'm one page ahead. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Right? Sincerity, be honest and reliable, understanding, focus on their needs, wants, and values. Predictability, deliver what is promised and expected. Exceptionality, provide the extraordinary and uncommon. Responsiveness, report quickly and reliably, right? That's where it comes as super service. And this will gonna bring you referrals and repeat business, right? They say that the relationship is bigger than one transaction. As talked about, if you have your first transaction, your mindset would be, next year I'm gonna get a direct referral from them and a future referral for every year. Two referrals a year.
From every
transaction, closed clients that you have. Right? That's where your mind, and what that means? That means you have to set your system up. What is it that you will be doing in order to earn those 2 referrals for a year?
Right.
If that being said, and my target is to do 10 deals a year or 20 deals a year or 100 deals a year or whatever the number is, you need to do that backward numbers. That means how many contacts I need in the database, and make sure that your source of business is not like one leg. Gary says you need to have multiple legs, 8 legs. One could be, your database, one could be your open houses, one could be your internet sources, one could be your husband's database, anything. You need to have 8 different sources to keep your business up and running.
Yeah, I have 3 or 4 right now.
See? So make sure you're relying on not only on one, because if one dried out, then your whole business is going to get dried out.
Well, I mean, just my friends and family, but that's pretty much dry because they don't live here. I mean, I went and did some soliciting in Nevada last week. That's where I was gone for a day and a half. So I went to see my parents. I did a CMA for their property. I did a CMA for the neighbors. One of the neighbors is going to be selling her home soon because her husband just passed away. So I talked to her for a few minutes. I didn't get her phone number. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I talked to her for a little while, and then, just taking my mom around in town, I was able to hand out a bunch of business cards to people that I've known for years and explain to them how the referral process works. If you guys want to support me in my business and you know of anybody, just have them call me directly, and then I'll make sure that they get in touch with a great Keller Williams person, And so it was really fun. It was really exciting because they're already supportive of me because they've known me my whole life.
Exactly.
And so I can see how, if you lived here your whole life, how it would be a little bit easier to get into the business because you already are intertwined with the community. You know about the community. You've been here, you lived here. Well, I never have. So I'm having to go out there and get my business. Exactly. I can't sit here and wait for the referrals to come. I have to go and get it.
And you have all the tools.
Yep. And that's what I'm doing. I'm like, you know what? I'll do an open house every single weekend until whenever. I don't care.
Perfect.
Because I don't know how else to do it. So this is what I'm doing.
And you know, it's the other way is like, okay, just say that open house is my office for the day.
Yeah.
If it's dry and nobody coming, guess what? You should be following up or writing your notes or making the phone calls or watching a video or practicing your role. It's your office for the day.
Right.
So again, it's your thing. If you want to do it over a weekend, you can. If you want to do it over a weekday, it would not be an issue either.
I know, and I was thinking about that because what I've done so far is just do it Friday and Saturday, and then I try to do my other stuff during the week. But I was thinking about changing that to doing it more often.
Yeah, because it's
But I
your
was just
desk over there.
thinking, will you get the same amount or better? How does the weekdays work? Have you ever done weekday open house?
We have not. The first one that we did was Friday, yet we are getting into it. We're gonna start doing some weekday open houses as well, because it all depends which house are you hosting open.
Yeah, and not only that, some people work the weekends, and some people are off during the week.
After hours, don't do early in the morning.
Oh
Do
no,
it in the afternoon.
only on Saturdays do I do early in the mornings. On Fridays it's 5 to 7.
Okay, so see, it's all about okay, what your mindset is. For you, it could be your office for the day to generate the leads. Right? For you, it would be office for the day to follow up and open your office for public. For you, it could be on that day to, you know, send all your thank you notes that you could not get on the same day. So it's all about getting that time, being productive, what you want to accomplish out of it, because it's your business.
Yeah.
Right? So are we going to do because this is pretty much preparing you for the next time.
Okay.
Make sure that you keep on doing your daily 10x4s, go over the material, practice your scripts, go over the objection, know what tools you have, and it's going to come into play everything. So that's pretty much the win-win, how you could win or sell the listing. Any question?
No. That the video did give me some, you know, some of your ideas. You're like, well, you need to be practicing.
Hey, you don't mind me just coming in and.
We just wrapped up.
Yeah, that's okay. We're done. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm teaching the one next week. Anyways, I know I'm late.
No, that's nice.
I was like, oh, I'll just see how she, but she's just to pick up some tips, you know. Maybe you can kind of show me something.
Okay. I think that's everything.
Yes, and then I'm gonna.
Now, is that your computer?
No, that's
Jessica?
actually, this is office
The office
computer, I
computer.
believe. I don't think so. It's Jessica's personal, maybe. No, I don't think so. Yeah, let me stop this. Okay, so usually, I just want to make sure it's closed. Give me 1 second, right?
Yes.
I'm just gonna, because she usually set up everything.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Right? She set up the slides, she sets up the videos and everything.
Does she want me to do more than one open house?
Let me get it. Let me get the Jessica to make sure this thing is done.
And you do go to meeting also?
No, she already set up. She already set it up. If there is a meeting, I don't think so. There is a meeting today.
She didn't do it today.
No, I don't think so. Because otherwise, it should be up and running. And then you need to go over the slide, the video she already have open. She tells you when you get into the slide and when you need to switch to a video, what to do.
Okay, and then now is this yours?
Yeah. That's the instructor manual. And
The whole, and you have it for every class?
every session. Yeah. And then she's probably going to provide you. You should have it.
She emailed it to me. I'll print it out.
Yeah. The next one. Are you
Yeah.
teaching the next one?
Yes,
It
it's
should.
Win with Buyers.
Win with
I've
Buyers.
already been kind of going over it and everything. I'm
Mhm.
home, but I need to print it out, so I'll do that today.
Perfect. And that would be, you know, I learned a lot when I teach it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You just like, go through it. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
It's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
hey, I went to go visit Corey last night, actually. Well, I saw him about 4 weeks.
I just want
ago.
to make sure
Oh,
this
sorry.
is not.
Yeah, go ahead. One second. And then, yeah.
I don't know anything that has been shared or what's going on. I just want to make sure that we turn this thing off correctly.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
He usually just visits already on.
So you did do a go-to meeting?
Yeah, depending on if there is on the, usually the Grass Valley office,
Mm-hmm.
or if somebody showed interest, then just